Okay, we're going to get started then, right? I'm going to do a little recording, yeah? Yeah. So we are starting now. So just for 30 seconds, I want to do a little experiment here. If you could just give me your attention, put your feet on the ground and just close your eyes. Now, a big part of what we're going to be doing today, what Eckart has in the book also, is the watcher, the thinker. So just close your eyes, and for the next 30 seconds, all I want you to do is just like the little mouse, or sorry, the cat sitting at the hole waiting for the little mouse. I want you to watch for the very next thought that you're going to have. Close your eyes and just observe the thoughts. Be patient, okay? And it's only going to be for 30 seconds. And then I'm going to ask you what the thought is. Okay, if you want to bring your presence back into the room again. Anybody catch a thought? Anybody sit like the little cat waiting? Anybody catch a thought?
I saw the mouse first. Then I wondered who was coming in.
Did anybody sit and watch for a thought? Did a thought come?
Yes. Yeah.
Who says no? Anybody else say no? No?
Well,
No?
the thought I had was, am I going to get a thought?
Right, that's okay. You see, the way it works is this, all right, and this is how simple that it is, right? And that, all it takes is practice. So those people who didn't have a thought, you're actually in the present moment. You had stopped thinking. Because you were the observer. Okay? Now, you weren't the thoughts. When we have thoughts, we actually become those thoughts, don't we? All right, and then we think this thought is us. We have to do. We're compulsive thought chasers. We're either inquiring or attention, and that's what Byron Katie says here. We're only doing two things with thoughts. We're inquiring from them, or we're at attention. But even when you inquire, you're still attention. Yeah. So that's what true meditation is. If you can sit and practice, it's not about the thought. You watching the thought will take you into the present moment. Now there's a big problem with this if you're operating in the world. Like we talked earlier on, okay? What Eckart talks about in the book is about thinking. Stop thinking. But then how can you operate in the world if you're not thinking to operate in the world? You can't. It's not true. So what I want to start off this morning is, I want to start off talking about the levels before we get into the power of now, okay? And we're going to do a good bit of the power of now. Then in the afternoon we're going to talk a little bit about Byron Katie. And also Marie is going to do a little Byron Katie, we'll call it also. Because what this is really all about in the levels, it's about getting to this level. Okay? It's about getting to level 2.
Michael, may I ask a question, please?
You go ahead.
With all due respect to Eckart and Byron, we've been studying the course now for quite a while. Why do we need Byron Katie and Eckart Tolle? I'm not saying that they're not wonderful. They are. But, again, not wanting to make comparisons, but I would have thought that the course was superior.
What's superior?
Well, listen, I've been, okay, I'm not going to go very far, but I've been sticking with it. I think I have, yes, at this point, I have been with A Course in Miracles for longer than I've been with anything else in my life, including my first job that I was 16 years in.
Yeah.
So I'm in I'm doing the Course in Miracles slightly
Well,
longer.
what we're going to show
And
here today.
I wouldn't be doing that if it wasn't giving me something.
Yeah, but what we're doing here, Mary, is, you know, we're showing people this book. Okay?
Yeah.
And there's an awful
Are you
lot
on
of,
commission?
there's an awful lot of people, all right?
Sorry?
There's an awful lot of people, all right, who are studying this book.
Yes.
Okay? And there's an awful lot of people studying this book that's studying A Course in Miracles.
Uh-huh.
And there's clearly a confusion of language between the two.
Right, so you're trying
Okay.
to clarify that.
So this is a true inspirational book. This
Uh-huh.
is a masterpiece of a book.
Uh-huh.
Okay, but that's what it is. So we have to show people really what this is by showing the structure of this is, and really showing how many people have did this. This book has sold 12 million copies. It's sold 10 million copies or 8 million copies more than the course. Okay?
Yes, but the course is rather complex.
Yes, but the course, and this is the whole point of today, all right, is showing you what this book says. The course is showing you what this book says. The course shows you what this book says. Okay?
Ah, we know what
The
that book
course
says.
is basically showing you all of this, that students from this point onwards, anybody who can learn these levels, you can look at any book now, all right, and you'll see exactly what that person's teaching in that book. Is this book now doing one of two things for you? Here's the thing. A, it's feeding your persona.
What's feeding?
Is the book that you're reading,
Is it?
is it feeding your persona?
Uh-huh.
The whole point of the course is to drop the persona. So if you're reading books, right, what does this book do to the persona?
I haven't read it. I haven't.
Drops it? No,
No.
definitely
Traps
not.
it.
It enhances it.
Sorry?
Because it enhances it.
The persona?
Yes,
Eckart Tolle?
yes.
Then why are we reading it?
Because this is the whole point. Because people are doing this book, are doing the exact same with the course.
Except,
All right, there are people reading the course and they're getting all caught up with here and what heaven is, oneness, and who they are. They're Christ now, they're the same as Jesus and everything. Okay? How can you not feel special about that?
True.
Okay? Then there's people looking at the higher self, the advanced teacher of God. And there's teachers and students out there claiming to be the advanced teacher of God. Okay? So what, up until this point, what could you do with that? If someone says, I'm an advanced teacher of God, what could you do?
Say so am I.
You either believed them, you made a judgment. Yeah? Yes or no? Yeah? But you really didn't even know at that stage.
Sorry, but when you said mind, when you said persona, are you talking about mind?
Yeah.
And you just said something there about dropping the mind. Maybe, I just find that it's developing the mind
Yeah.
to be a right mind, not dropping it.
Yes.
You don't drop your mind because then you would sit in a corner with your legs crossed on top of a mountain to bed and not interact
Exactly.
with the world.
Exactly.
So it's not dropping your mind, it's developing your mind. Do you know what I mean? I just said dropping your mind.
It's only a
To
word.
me, I know it is.
But the
It
drop,
depends on the
but that's
language.
giving you meaning.
Yeah, it's.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, other people
It's
will have different.
interpretations,
It's
yeah,
all,
absolutely. Everybody's
it's all
interprets.
interpretation,
Yeah.
yeah. Do you know? So the whole point of this, Mary, and everybody else is right, is we can buy books and say that's an absolutely brilliant book because your persona will make the decision that it's a brilliant book. Now, is that book really any good to you? Everybody that's doing this book is drawn into this book. Everybody that's doing Muji is drawn into Muji for one reason and one reason only. Why?
Enhancing their persona.
They don't want to look at this part. They don't want to go to here to look at here. What they're trying to do is get out of here, the persona, and get up to here to level 3 ASAP without looking at any shit whatsoever. That's the truth of it. Okay? The people who are sitting listening to Muji, okay, and sitting in awe, the people who are sitting listening to Marion Williamson, okay, are being fed specialness. Don't come back. Okay, so
The shit still happens.
the point here is this, all right, what this is all about, it's giving you power. It's giving you the power to start the wheat out from the chaff from now on, both with books that you might buy Okay, with teachers that you might go to listen to. What is this person teaching? Because you can only teach what you are. So if there's someone pretending to be here and they're going around teaching right and wrong and good and bad, what's happening there? What did the Indians used to say about George Washington? He speak with forked tongue. All right, he say one thing, but do another thing. And that's exactly what happens here. All right, you must teach from where you're at. Now, Eckart, in this book, is clearly a level 3 teacher, and he's teaching from level 3. Byron Katie is a level 3 teacher, and she teaches on level 2. So which of those two books would you buy?
Sorry, Byron is a level 3 teacher, but she's teaching on level 2.
Yes.
I thought you, oh, right,
So
right.
which of these books would you buy?
Byron.
Yeah, of course you would.
Good answer.
I knew it was coming. All right, but you can see my
Which
point
of them
here.
would you buy? I would buy
The-
the Power of Now.
Of course you would, because
Not
you're not listening to what I'm
Right.
saying, Mary. Because you're not listening to what I'm saying. The point is this: you would buy the Power of Now because that's what the persona would buy. Now, do you want to?
And what about Byron Katie? What would that? Who would buy
Because
that?
Byron Katie, what she does with the persona, she turns it inside out, completely.
I don't like Byron Katie.
Well, that's okay. And do you know why? It's because because you like your persona.
Huh?
Because you like your persona. Let's be
Yeah,
truthful
well, I
about
bought the Power of Now, but I didn't read it. And do you know why I bought it? Because you were yabbering on about it, and I said there must be something in this book. Michael, I have asked you loads of times, did you read it? Have you seen that? You said, I don't read other people's books.
it. All right.
Sorry, Monica.
You have said that to me gazillion times. Sorry.
Well, I mean, Course in Miracles is my Bible, but
Yep.
I do read other books, not many, but the other one. I have read one of Eckart Tolle, not that one, was another one. But I do look for the sort of consistency with the Course in Miracles. That's good. And as far like reading Eckart Tolle, my own impression was, in content, there wasn't much difference between Tolle and the Course in
Yeah,
Miracles.
that's right. Yeah.
So I found it good to read it, you know.
Yeah, but what tools did you take out of it?
Sorry, Matt.
What tool? What
Well, I
tools?
took purely out of curiosity
Yeah,
to
yeah,
see
yeah.
the similarities. Like Buddhism, I can see the similarities. And it confirms me that the Course in Miracles is right, like when I see other people.
Yeah, you're
They're
looking for
not
that
exactly the
validation.
same, but
Yeah,
they have
you're looking for that
common
validation.
ground. Even Orthodox Christianity is some common ground, you know.
There's truth in everything, Tom.
So that's from that point of view, I will read any book.
Yeah.
But I still come back, the Course in Miracles is my foundation, if you like, and my Bible. Like,
Of
you know.
course.
I won't depart from that.
Of course. And basically what the course does give you also, it gives you that foundation, like you said, the content of truth. And now other books could basically, you know, you could relate the course as the barometer to other books, you know. Right, we're going to get started here now. I want to go through first the level.
Can I ask
Yeah.
one thing, if you don't mind? Could we just say our names so we know who we are?
Yeah, we'll do that. Go ahead. You want to start, Helen?
Ellen.
Tricia, no, just if I want to say to somebody, I don't want to say, hey, you.
Yes.
So I get Tricia.
Eileen. Monica.
Mary.
Sharon. Jean.
Suzanne.
Olive.
Kevin.
Isabel.
And Tom, but I won't remember any of the names.
Maureen.
Marie.
Marie.
Just,
I don't remember any of that.
I'll take one and pass it on. I'll put this enough there. Done. What we want to do is, everything is a state of mind. Okay? And there are 5 levels. There are 5 levels of consciousness. There are 5, you could say, states of mind. There are 5 states of awareness. Okay? And on each level has its own identity. And this is very important. Okay? Every level has its own identity. So what gives you an identity at each level? Where's your identity at?
In mine.
Yeah. But what gives you a certain identity at any level?
Attachment to it.
Huh?
Attachment to it.
Exactly. So where's your attachments?
Your thoughts?
Yeah. Yeah. You see, thoughts equal vibration. Okay, so let's look at, we'll start at level 1. And you can kind of, we're only going to do the 3 levels, but we'll just move over level 4 and 5. But you can see level 1, there's a lot more in it than the other levels. Okay? And basically what this is, everything here that I'm going to read out now at this level, right? You'll put form on everything, but at the end of the day, it equals only a thought. Okay? Everything equals a thought. And if you can stick with the thoughts and drop the stories, then you can do this very quickly. Alright? Because it's the story that people won't drop. And what is a story? It's a collection of thoughts, ideas, and concepts that basically you're putting together to attack yourself with. Or attack someone else, which is the same thing as attacking yourself. So let's look at the facts here. And you know what Einstein said about facts? Alright? He says if the facts don't fit your theory, change the facts.
Very, oh dear, very disappointing.
Good.
Same on our Christmas list.
And do you know why he said that?
Experiments.
Einstein was one of the most enlightened people. You know what he was talking about when he was saying that?
Oh no, you're.
Because the facts of this world belong to the persona.
Sounds like a politician.
That is what the persona is. Exactly a politician. Will tell you everything you want to hear. But again, we're going to go back into, we're getting really deep into that a little bit later on. At this moment in time, I only want to cover the levels to give you an idea. You know, it's kind of like when you stand back from a picture, you can see the overall picture, then you move a little bit closer, then you move a little bit closer, and then you get into, this is where I really need to do my work. And that's what we're going to be doing today. In other words, it's time to cut the bullshit out of your life. And the spiritual shite also. Okay, seriously, you know, because all the self-help books, they're all designed to give help to, yeah, you know, the persona wants to wake up. The persona wants rid of everything bad. It's the persona that doesn't want to come back to this world. So let's look at all of these thoughts, facts. So, while on level 1, you're guaranteed 4 things. You're guaranteed pain, you're guaranteed to suffer, you're guaranteed to get sick, and you're guaranteed to die. And pay taxes. Forgot about that. Just put that into me. Make you feel better. While you're doing all of these things, you're going to have to pay for it. Okay? And you're going to pay a lot. And you're going to have to earn a lot of money to pay for this. Okay? So what else does this concern, right? Here we have the 3 elements here, the 3rd dimension. We have the body, we have the split mind, and we have the world. Okay? Can everybody see that?
Yeah.
So let's work out all our relationships. So we have 7 relationships. Does everybody know who your relationship? When I say to you, Tricia, relationships, what's your first thought? Who are you thinking about?
Well, it's hard to say. Relationship with yourself.
Yeah, or
About your family, or your country,
Yeah.
or your
Yeah. Yeah.
food.
Well, we have 7 relationships, okay? And it's important that you figure out these relationships because there's a couple of relationships you need to really get to know well, and there's a few I would forget about. All right. So you have a relationship with the body. And it's your body that has all the other physical special relationships. Isn't this true? Okay. So a little bit of insanity here. We're trying to fix all these relationships. Okay, and we don't even have a relationship with ourselves. Isn't that true? Yeah? Does everybody here truly know themselves? No?
Depends what you mean. Depends what you mean.
Do you know everything about yourself? Do you know your persona, your personality, and your shadow?
They're all labels.
They're not.
They are.
They're not. They're faces that you wear every day.
Oh, well, okay, so, well, I do know that then. I do know that, obviously, that the person who you're meeting now probably would be very different to the person who I am in work and all of that kind of things.
right.
Well, I would like to think that there isn't a big difference because I try to be who I am.
You see,
Yeah,
that's,
I do try.
you see, that's the problem.
I thought I
The
was
greatest
doing
trier in this world is who?
The
Well,
ego.
The ego. When you're trying to do anything, it's always the ego.
Yeah, but when you say try, you know, you're speaking from level 3 or maybe level 4, like, but you have to operate in the world.
Oh, you do.
And like, if you say to people, stop trying, then you run the risk of them all withdrawing
Yeah.
into themselves and going, right, okay, I'll do
Yeah,
something.
yeah.
To me, it's about right relationship, right.
I'm going to
what
give-
I want to call it right, but it's sort of, I go back to the beat, let it be. Just try not to internalize stuff, no matter how good, bad it is. Just let it go over, or as Jesus said, turn the other cheek. Whatever works.
Yeah.
But
you know
what
what,
worries
man?
me in a lot of this is all the labels and the terminology. That's kind of
But-
destructive, if you
Yeah,
know what I
but you
mean.
see, that we need, you
That's
see, the problem with your
Don't worry
labels,
about it.
the problem with your labels is you can't drop them now, because this world is full of labels.
Mhm.
And everybody in this world is full of labels. And we have to use those labels now to reinterpret them. That's the only reason what we're doing here. It's all about reinterpretation. And when Jesus says, turn the other cheek, what did he mean?
Don't react.
No. The worst thing that you can do is not react. If you really want to get sick, you keep doing that.
No,
what I mean-
When I say react, I mean is let it be. Don't let it bother you. Try and not
No,
let
you
you worry
see-
about it.
Yeah, you see, that's what everybody's doing now.
Yeah,
And there's
that's-
no surer way to get sick than to keep doing that.
Well, I haven't been sick for years. Which is
Well, I'll explain to you. I'll explain to you why. I'm not just making statements here. I'll explain to you why. But basically, what I'm saying here we have 3 relationships in this world. You have a relationship with the world, you have a relationship with the mind, and you have a relationship with the body. Okay. Now, the problem with this at this level is the relationship that we have with this mind. We see ourselves through it, and we see everybody in the world and the world through it. It's not true. So that means this is the mind of right and wrong, good and bad. Okay? So that means everybody in your life, you have no choice. At this level, you will be seeing people through that. Okay? If they're not good, right? Me and Kevin had this talk one night. Was it Dennis or Brian? Was it? At the conference?
I don't remember, no.
No, Joe.
Joe, it was another Joe. It was basically, he had a problem with Dennis O'Brien, but he wasn't putting him in the good room, but he didn't put him in the bad room. So where did he put him?
In the bedroom.
He was basically trying to be spiritually correct. He knew it was wrong to put him into the bad room, but he didn't want to put him into the good room either, because he believed he did something wrong. So you have, the Course tells us very clearly here, right? And I think Eckart also mentions that there's no neutral thoughts. You have no neutral thoughts. If you have, just for a second, if there's somebody in your life that you have no thoughts about, someone very close to you, no? Can you define everybody close to you?
What do you mean?
Are they either good or bad?
Oh, yeah. They're the good or bad.
Yeah.
The thoughts of the person.
Good people. Have you good people and have you bad
I'd
people?
never label, I'd never judge anyone.
But you see, the
I'd never
point
judge
that
anyone.
I'm making, you see, you're in a world of judgment. And if you're not being honest and saying exactly how you feel, if you're trying to be good, if you're trying not to let anything bother you, you're in a state of denial. And that,
But
yeah,
you're
but just
making
let
a
me
huge
finish.
assumption
Just
that
let-
I'm trying.
But you said it yourself. Do you know what I mean? That you try not to let things bother you, that basically it's about turning the other cheek, which
Yeah.
is the passive aggressive. Now, the passive aggressive is about the most destructive tool that you can use, because it's a creator of all sickness in the body. What the passive aggressive does, it holds the energy, all that negative energy in the body. It doesn't project it out onto anybody. Okay? It doesn't project that energy onto the bad people. You'd be far better projecting it onto the bad people. Okay? You ever see a really bad person very sick? Anybody?
No.
Why? It's because they're continually projecting it out. You see, maybe someone you might know them that have been a really good person all their life. Maybe they got very sick, maybe they got cancer, maybe they got this. Maybe they didn't even smoke, or whatever. That person has spent their entire life of trying to be good. It costs an awful lot of energy trying to be good. You use the passive aggressive in trying to be good. Okay? But we'll get to those tools.
Sorry, Michael, can you see good and bad in the same person?
Of course, and that's about as most.
So when you say good and like, so the parts that are in the persona and parts that are in the
I mean, that's been really honest. That has
like
been really, really honest. That's about as honest as you can get in this world. You know? Yeah, you know, I can see really good things in you, and I see really things that piss me off. And like Byron Katie does then, you do the turnaround, because everybody's a mirror, alright? And let's say, Kevin, I can see really good things in you, and I can really see a lot of bad things in you, right? I'm doing the course, I'm doing this, so now what we do is, at the end with Byron Katie, the truth is, everything I see in you is a reflection of me. Why? Because I reacted to it, I judged you. Now that gives me the opportunity to bring everything back to myself and see very honestly how I see Kevin is what I'm denying to look at myself. You see, as long as you're trying to be good and have this perceived thought that I'm a good person, you can't have it without having the thought I'm a bad person. That's the law at this level. Now, whether you like to deny the thought that I'm a bad person, which again is going to make you sick, you have to be honest at this level. You know? Well, everybody at this level is trying to do here in the persona, they're trying to get up here and leave this here. People who are doing the course, I want to get into the spiritual universe, but I don't want to come back here. So again, they're causing that separation. Okay? Everything has to be reinterpreted at this level. Everything. You can't let anything pass over you because there's no neutral thoughts. And the way that we get to that honesty is we have to stop the denial.
Just look at the negative thoughts.
Oh,
Yeah.
but look at it and not to take it seriously.
Yeah.
You see, we don't only look at it because it frightens us. So we don't look at it, we deny it. And then we carry on with all these good thoughts in the good room. All right? So we deny the bad room. And
But
that's
there's
what Joe was actually...
There's a constant black, something,
Yes.
a black elephant, I see it, in
Yes.
your mind when
Yes.
you're doing that.
Yes.
You're fighting so hard to be good and to be positive and to be, that you push this bloody big elephant, you can't get him out of the way, but he's there.
You see, what's happening here, right, this is exactly what the ego has been programmed to do. The ego wants to split off, get rid of everything bad, and wants to get into heaven, to bliss, to eternity. That's what it wants. And then when you think of it, we come in here, forget who we are, and now we mimic exactly what the ego is trying to do. The ego needs us to do what it can't do by itself.
What you're actually saying is that massive efforts to be good make your body sick. Yeah, my sister was always very good. In fact, she was good to the point of scrupulosity. She was OCD and she had kind of, depression some of the time. But she died in her 40s, a year after she gave birth to her only child that she wanted all her life. But she was always trying to be good.
And again, we're going to get into that later on, right? That's just a very, like I said earlier on, there's a part of you then that's going to continually sabotage everything you do, sabotage you. You know, when you stand in front of the mirror and maybe you buy a new dress or you get this done or whatever, right? And for a second or a couple of seconds, you're really happy with it. Then these thoughts come in, oh, you're too fat in it, or it's too this, or it's too that, or maybe you get this done. What's going on there? That's the shadow with those thoughts coming in and saying, fuck you, persona, I'm going to show you. The persona is always under attack from the shadow in our thoughts. And we have to open that up. We have to open that channel up and listen to that, because it's all bullshit. Okay? And the more you try to be good, the more that the shadow is going to prove to you you're not a good person over a period of time. It will continuously. And what you have to do then is use a lot of energy to deny that attack and deny those things. So, as
Sorry,
long...
Michael, can I ask another question? But so you're saying that turning the other cheek is passive aggression?
No, that's the ego's interpretation. And everybody who has read the Bible or did
Yeah.
Jesus' work, that's what they take up of it. That's what
But
they...
that ain't what Jesus meant.
That's, no. What Jesus says was look at this from a different perspective. When you turn the cheek, you're looking at it from a different way. He doesn't say turn the cheek to someone to hit you on the other side.
But we are interpreting it
Yes.
in the wrong way.
Turning the other cheek means looking at it from here now rather than looking at it from here. It's looking at it from a different perspective, okay, to turn the cheek. So again, let's just go through what we see here, right? We have the separated self, or the false self. We have the persona, we have the shadow, and we have the personality in the moment. Then we can go in here and just look at a few of the persona's attributes. It's the planner, okay? It's the strategist, and it's the seeker, okay? And it's also the mind of complete judgment. If you're in this world and you are not being honest with your judgments, okay, you're in a state of denial. It's as simple as that. Now, I am not saying that you should go out now and start abusively judging people. Do you know? But what I am saying is, listen to the little voice inside your head and be honest. Stop denying it. Okay? Now, this is also the world of attachments. Oh, sorry, we have the authority problem. And anybody here an authority problem?
Yeah, definitely.
Anybody here not an authority problem?
I'm afraid of people in authority.
Yeah. I mean, that's being honest.
Yeah.
It's really good. I have an authority problem. Because when you deny the authority problem at this level, and in the course, it tells us the authority problem, right, is with God. At this level, the authority problem is with God. Yeah? Because we're not one with God. Isn't that true? Here, we have an authority problem with Christ being. What's our authority problem with that?
You want to
Don't know.
be separate from it?
Hmm?
Don't know, tell us.
Do you know what Christ is? As Eckart describes, and what Jesus describes in the Course. It's the entire sonship. This is all as one. Jesus wasn't Christ on his own. He was a part of Christ. Christ is the entire oneness of all of us. Okay? So, what's our problem with that?
We don't want to
Is it?
be one.
Yeah.
You don't, yeah, that's
We don't want to be one. We want to be special. We want to be unique. We want to be individual. Okay, so we have a serious problem with oneness. Alright? And again, that's being truthful and honest. Yeah? You're looking a bit miffed, Tom?
I thought we were to start on those problems down at level 1 and 2.
No, what I'm saying up here, what I'm saying, yeah, exactly.
It's all ego, like,
Yeah,
problem.
well, exactly, but what I'm saying is all of these are not the problem.
Oh, yeah, no,
You know, what I'm
I
saying-
thought to get to up 3 and 4 was after we got rid of
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
Hang on,
Including the
so
authority.
hang on, you're on a tangent. No, I'm getting it. You're
Yeah,
on the authority problem.
Yeah, I'm just working down the list of where, these are all relationships that we have, Tom.
Oh, sorry,
Alright.
you're working.
I'm working my way just down the list.
I was.
Yeah, oh, don't worry.
Working up, yeah.
I'm eliminating all
But
the
on the way
ones.
back, you would have got rid of it by
Yeah.
level 4,
Yeah,
wouldn't
yeah.
you? Oh, yeah, that's.
So I'm only saying as, to give you another example, right? When Jesus is talking to you in the Course, you know the you. Who's he talking to?
Decision maker.
So like you.
Yeah.
The you.
Yeah. And this is, if you can grasp this part of how the Course operates, you'll grasp, I'll really open up for you. He's talking to you on every level. When he's talking to you about heaven, he's talking about you at one with God. When he's talking to you as Christ, he's talking to you as one with everybody else. You see, there is no singular you in the Course that he's talking to, because the whole Course is on levels. Every chapter, all these 5 levels are in every chapter. And if you can recognize these 5 levels, you should level this here should help you now, because, you know, in every chapter he's talking about nearly everything is in these 2 pages. Do you know? So when you're reading a bit now, you can say, oh, he's talking about level 5, he's talking about me as Christ here, he's talking about me here as the higher self, being awake, or the advanced teacher of God. He's talking about me here being one with the Holy Spirit. He's talking about me here in the body, he's talking about me here in the world, he's talking about me here in the persona, in the shadow, and in the personality. So you can see why the course is pretty confusing. You know, because he's talking to you on so many different levels in every book, or sorry, in every chapter. And sometimes in one page, I think I read a couple of pages where there were 3 levels on the one page. You know, so it's important that you would know all of these. So we have an authority problem with the Holy Spirit. Why?
But what's the problem with authority on this? That's level 3, so what's the problem with authority there?
Here,
Yeah.
on level 3, what do you think?
I don't know, that's why I'm asking you.
We'll get to it now. I want to go through the characteristics, because those are the characteristics. You see, these 3 levels are the most important, because these are the 3 that's on this sheet of paper. And these are the thoughts that we have to attach to. So basically what we'll do now is we'll work on these 3. So the authority problem we have at this level, right, is with each other. Now, the biggest problem with religion in the world is, up until date, to be religious in the world was always about becoming one with God. Isn't that true? And it was fuck everybody else, especially all the bad people and the guilty people. All right, they're going to hell. All right, it's only us, the good people, who are going to heaven. Isn't that right? Okay, what's the problem with that? It's not Christ. Okay, it's breaking the entire sonship. We can only go to God as one. So we must become one with each other first before we become one with God. And that, you know, when I think I told Isabel this at the conference, when Jesus went to the great feast, was thrown in his honor, there was a big top table and everything was laid out for him. But when he went there, he went and he sat with prostitutes, murderers, all of those people. And he was told twice to come up that his reputation would be harmed if he stayed with these people. What was he demonstrating to us?
Oneness.
It had been easy to be up with the top table with all the special people. He was down in true oneness with everyone. That's demonstration for you. Okay, and he was told. So maybe you're hanging around with someone that's not very good or whatever, like, you know, someone comes to you. It's the reputation. Here is the reputation. And Jesus didn't give a shit about his reputation. But people in this world, they'll kill for the reputation. Okay, if someone says something about you, what do you do?
And defend your senses.
Of course. Because that's the persona, the reputation here, and the persona is quite vicious.
So can I just ask a question? Yeah. Just, you know, you're saying there someone attacks the persona, or it's gone now. But what do you do with that then? How do you cope with this? Does that make sense, what I'm trying to say?
Someone attacks the persona,
Yeah,
right?
and so how do you deal with this then? Earlier on you were saying...
Your reputation.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly, yeah.
Well, what did Rumi say?
I don't know, who knew me?
Yeah. Well,
Whatever.
Rumi says, allow your reputation to be destroyed.
Okay.
And that means you don't defend it. You know, if someone come up and says, you're not a very nice person, what would
Yeah.
what do you defend?
Yeah,
Yeah. And do you know what you're defending?
not really.
You're defending the ego.
Yeah.
You're giving strength to the ego, you're giving energy to it. You see, the ego, even Eckart says it in the book, needs to be fed. Okay? So, so it's, you know, if you really wanted to do one of 2 things here, it's stop feeding the ego and start feeding this. But we'll get to that.
I was just thinking, it's like what Helen said earlier about not reacting if somebody came up to me and said something to me that I didn't like, where, like in the past, I would immediately react, or I'd feel, you know what I mean, I'd react probably quite defensively, but I'm at the point now where I can think, that's interesting that they would say that, and I can stop myself and take 3 deep, which I found really helpful with Eckart, you know, it's almost like take 3 deep breaths or stop the thoughts that are going on and just think, okay,
Yeah.
this is happening now, I have to deal with it.
Yeah.
But what I won't do is punish.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's like saying, this is a part of me that I'm not too keen on seeing now, but anyway, look, this is it now, so I have to do it.
Yeah. So basically, what we're just doing here is level 1 is showing you why you're here and how you're here. And it's up to you then if you want to do something about this. All right. So you can.
Michael, you mentioned 7 relationships there. I picked up 3: body, mind,
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
All right, okay.
There's 3
I
at
thought
bottom
you were
level.
on at level 1. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, it's okay.
Yeah.
Sorry, Mike, is there 2 different minds between, see the one on level 1, you have mind, and then you have the split mind on level 2?
Yeah.
Are they 2 separate minds?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. I'll go into that a little bit more. I'm just giving the overview now, but we're really going to get into this level and this level a little bit later on. So attachments then. Now, again, at this level, you're attached to everything. You have to be working on the premise that everything in your life you're attached to. So it's very easy to know what you're attached to. Does anybody know the little trick?
You get a reaction.
Huh?
Yeah,
Yes.
strong
Anything that
reaction.
annoys you or pisses you off, you're attached to.
Yeah.
It's as simple as that.
You get an act. Anything that provokes a physical reaction. Usually anger.
Okay? So we have 3 forms of attachments. All right? We have material attachments, we have emotional attachments, and we have psychological attachments. And we have attachments of love and hate, special love and hate. And again, this is basically the dynamics that's going on in these 2 rooms. Okay? You have another attachment that's very dangerous at this level, which keeps you at this level, and it's the attachment to the thought of separation. And that means it's the thought that you are different or separate from everybody around you. That, in other words, it makes no difference to you what someone else does or says, or what you think about them. Okay? The body is an attachment. Anybody here not attached to their body?
Wonderful.
All right. So what's your attachment to the body? Susan. Susan.
Sorry, yes.
When you look in the mirror, what's your attachment?
Well, at this stage, I know I'm not my body.
Right. You know you're not.
I know I'm not my body, yes.
But when you look at this level,
When I look at this level,
when you look in the mirror in the morning or whatever, right, what's your thoughts about the body?
it's grand. It's okay. It's okay.
Yeah. Anybody else?
Yeah.
I know I'm not
Not
my body,
perfect.
but I've got sore feet.
All right. You see, the key
And I need
here,
hearing
the
aids.
key here is also this, and this is one of the beauties about Eckart's book too. And I have used this quote many times. It's when you look at the body, it's very important that it's not the body that you have the problem with. It's the thoughts that you have about the body.
It's
you
the
see in the
experience
mirror.
of the body that you're having an issue with rather than...
Well, I would even, Suzanne, look at the thoughts that I have of the body.
But that is your experience of your body. The thoughts are what you're experiencing. So,
Yeah, but the experience is coming from the thoughts.
absolutely. So
Yeah, but if you don't look at the thoughts, then you're going to go into the experience whether it's good or bad. You see?
yes.
So
yes,
isn't it better,
yes.
it's kind of like you, there's a bus coming along and you say, I don't need to look at what number it is or where it's going to,
Get
it's
on
going
the bus.
Do you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
now you're going to just, where do I end up? And then you end up, say, in the middle of, you're going to the city centre and you end up in Portlaoise. And now you start to eat the fucking head of the driver. What are you doing bringing me here? It's true.
Yeah.
Don't we do
Yes,
this?
yes, absolutely. I get it. Yeah.
You know?
Mm.
This is all about denial. And then we end up in a place and we go, how the hell did I get here?
Isn't it about bringing these thoughts then to the Holy Spirit for healing?
Correct.
Yeah.
Because that's what we're going to do. You see, everything here can only be corrected from here. All right? But again, we're going to get back into that. We're just going through these. We already discussed it. We already discussed you're attached to your reputation. And again, it's how you let that go is, if you're willing to let your reputation go, just say it to yourself, right? And over the next couple of weeks, someone will come and basically fulfill your wish.
Yeah.
You want to try that?
Say that again, Margaret.
Basically say in your mind, I'm willing to allow my reputation to be destroyed.
Oh, no.
Can I just say, Michael, I had an article written about me 4 or 5 years ago. Just like what you're saying now, it was in the Sunday Times as well. And a friend of mine said, I can't understand why you didn't go after that journalist. Why didn't you fight? Why didn't whatever? And I said, because he attacked someone that I'm not, so why would I go after him? And that's what I actually said, you know. And it was so, to me it was like, you know,
I like
you're crazy, you're mad, what are you doing? I was like, but he attacked someone that I'm not, so why would I go after it then?
But you probably
What's happened?
you give the only true answer you could because you didn't rationalise.
Absolutely.
You know,
Yeah.
it would have been so easy to rationalise.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
Because after I had my experience, the journalist came up to me and basically we talked and then went and looked at everything that we didn't talk about.
That's exactly, yes,
So.
yes. That's what they do, you know. Mm.
So the other one is spiritual specialness.
What about it? We're attached to it.
Oh, especially if you're reading Eckart Tolle and The Course of Miracles and Byron Katie and all these books. All right, how could you not be that little bit special after reading all of this? Do you know what I mean? Like we have come. I mean, seriously, like you know, I thought about many things that could happen in my life later on in life, but what happened to me was the last thing I ever expected. Seriously, like I really, you know, and it left me that I didn't have any spirituality, that I went into spirituality with a complete blank slate. You know, I wasn't attached to any forms of spirituality, which left me that I could look at any book and basically give an honest interpretation of it. You know? Whereas I had worked with a few people and they had been in spirituality all their life, and there were 30 years of spiritual specialness, which means there's all the knowledge that they acquired. When we really got into the session with them, they didn't know anything. They had learned everything, but they didn't know anything. And Eckart talks about it in their experience is the greatest teacher. You know, and we have all great experiences learned in this life. You don't need books to give you knowledge. Your own experiences are the greatest teachings that you've ever received. And whether they were good or bad, it doesn't really matter.
Michael, this question came up in our group, and it's about awareness. And you know, you can have all the experiences in this world, but if you're not somehow aware, is that correct? Like, how can you learn from, just say if you don't know, well, I suppose you probably know on some level about God and stuff.
You look at my life, right? I went through 40 years, you could say, a very painful life, and I wasn't aware of anything. But once I did become aware, I became aware. The experiences that you have never leave you. You know, you'll put them into a cupboard in your mind or a filing cabinet in your mind, but they never leave. They're there. And when the time comes, when you're ready for it, whether it be this lifetime or the next lifetime, all right, you're going to teach from those experiences, because that's where your true learning has come from. You know, all the stuff that I teach has always been about, every person who comes to me is coming to me from a place that I was in my past. Identical. And it's been unbelievable, like, you know, everybody that comes to me, I have been with that person. And I didn't need to go and look at a book or a quote or anything. I was able to help that person because I was in that same place, you know. So, again, what we do, we go through experience after experience, good and bad in this life. And then we realize someday there has to be another way, there has to be something else. But it's not until we've tried everything on our own that we realize that we need help with all of this. It can't be done on our own. So let's keep going. Also, religion. All right, religion is in the persona. And let's say if you're a Catholic, like me, all right, that means every other religion is in there. Shout. Why?
Because the Catholic Church is the one true church.
Yeah. According to the Catholic Church, says every other religion is wrong. And this is the wrong one, so they're in here. So then, you know, you could be a Buddhist in here, and you could have all religions in here. And what people do with the Course is they put the Course in here, now they put all religions in here. So you can see everything that we put into the good room, we're basically putting everything, our experiences, into the bad room. Okay? Time is also at this level. And we'll discuss it in Eckart's when we're reading it. He says basically the now is timeless. The now here is timeless. And here is time. And he said one of the quickest ways out of here is basically to end the delusion of time. Anybody remember reading that? Anybody know how to do that? No?
Where is timeless?
Here.
Higher stuff.
So here we have the past and the future. Where's the present?
There's no room for it there. We're never in the present.
There's no room for the present. You see, this mind was made to keep God out. This is the mind with only past and future. Your present at this level, right, is always your past and your future. Okay? You're working out what hasn't worked in the past, and you're designing a new future. That's the persona here. Okay? So there's no...
Even when you're practicing mindfulness. Yeah.
It's the persona.
Yes. Yeah, I see that.
You know? So, again, time is here. There's no present moment.
So you're saying, Michael, to get to the present moment, you have to go up to level 2, is that right?
No, level 3.
Or level 3? But none of us are at level 3, so we can never get into, at the moment, none of us ever get into the present, is that what you're saying?
You were just in the present moment here a few moments ago.
Well, we're not at level 3, are we?
No, but you were at level 3 sitting there when you basically were watching that thought. You were sitting at level 3.
So we do occasionally get into level 3,
Oh,
even
listen,
we are.
you basically, you know, spend a lot of your day there without realizing you're
Oh, sorry, I thought it was mostly switching between level 1 and 2.
No, I mean, you see, the problem with people at level 1 is they think level 3, they're waiting for this big kind of pipes, the horns blowing. Do you know?
Ascension, yeah.
Well, that works if you go through the dark night of the soul. But the Course is about a gentle awakening where you're just basically, you're not becoming lost, but you're not becoming found either. You know, you're not going to have this, you're gently going into the light. Whereas the dark night of the soul, you go through this vortex here. So you're here in complete darkness, and you go through the vortex here of 2, and you end up with...
Well, if you get to level 2 and you're in your true right mind, are you not,
Yeah.
can you not get into the present from there?
Of course you can. I'll show you how.
But
Yeah.
back to level 2?
Yeah.
What?
That's
Right.
exactly how we're going to show how this is done. So then we have, again, here, we have empathy. False empathy. Do you know what false empathy is, Helen?
Sorry?
False empathy?
Pass. Sorry, I'm not really thinking. I'm
Tricia?
not false empathy.
I just, I'm not good at articulating, I do know, but I just can't.
Anybody here?
It be the belief that you are being able to see things from another person's point of view, but you actually aren't.
No, it's when you feel sorry for anybody.
Yeah.
That's
That's not
sympathy.
empathy.
Pity.
Like in our,
Empathy.
I was a social worker, and in our training there was been this real emphasis on empathy, and we were told it is not sympathy. Absolutely nothing to do with sympathy. It's to do with getting into that, trying to see things from your client's perspective.
Other person's shoes.
Yeah, walk a mile in my shoes.
Yeah, but that's very hard to do
But
when you
it's,
think
it's
about
not.
it.
I think it's not honest because I don't think we can
No.
do that.
Yeah. You know, because all you're doing is guessing at the end of the day.
Yeah, and you're also telling them that you know you did the wrong thing, and here if I'm entitled to what I would have done.
Exactly.
Projecting your own.
Yeah.
Would it also fit if you were pretending to be sympathetic with somebody,
No.
not really meaning it?
Yeah.
In other words, you're really...
Well, you'd be better doing that.
fooling
Yeah, that's
person.
honest. That's
You'd be better doing that.
Well, yeah, but that would be false.
Because that's what
That would
Ken-
be false empathy as well, though.
No.
No.
Well, you see, it is if you don't realise that's what you're doing. You see, what Ken Wapnick used to teach was, like, if you went into, say, a wake or a funeral home or whatever, and the person's lying in the coffin and the family's around mourning, and then you walk in and say, there's no death. What are you on about? Like, you know, we're not a body, he's not a body, and that would be very cruel to do, wouldn't it? Okay, you wouldn't do that. So, like, you know, you would go in and you do everything you normally would do. But here's the difference. You think differently. You don't join with the people in suffering. You join with the people in truth. Okay? And the truth is, when you go into a funeral home or a wake or something like that, in your mind, you tell yourself, there is no death. We are not bodies. We are spirit, we are eternal, we are immortal, we are this. But we're here to have this experience of death, to realize that this is the world we do not want. So empathy at this level will always be false. So when you are feeling sorry for someone, it should tell you one thing and one thing only. I'm in the wrong floor. I need to go up the floor. True empathy is always looking at the truth. Not joining with suffering, but joining with the truth. And then at this level, the one thing about this level is, two things, sorry, at this level, is one, that you're an addict. Okay? Everybody here know that they're addicts? Helen? You an addict?
Yeah.
Two?
Sorry, I don't like you put on the spot.
No, no.
Yeah, you know, I just think it's
We're all addicts to
proper
thinking.
being a dog.
We're all addicts to thinking. So, and we're all addicts to thinking right and wrong and good and bad. Okay? And here's the big problem now. For a body to exist in this world, it needs coping mechanisms. And the coping mechanisms that we need is basically the passive-aggressive is one, sublimation is another, displacement is another, restitution is another, altruism is another. There's many coping mechanisms out there, right? But the most dangerous, as I said already, in there is the passive-aggressive. Because that is where that's the stem cell where all sickness comes from. Because if you just think about it, we hold this dark, negative energy all around the body. And this is why there's never been a cure for cancer, because they're not looking for in the right place. Okay? Cancer doesn't origin in the mind and the body, it origins in the mind and is projected onto the body.
Although they do acknowledge that stress, etc., is a major factor.
Yeah, well, that's energy.
But, yeah.
But you look at, you know, say someone who's under stress, say at work, and maybe they have an asshole for a boss, and maybe their colleague who's working along with them is not up to the task, maybe they're carrying all the weight and have been doing it. And they just get in every day and they just grit and bear it, like, you know, and the stress builds up. And where is the stress? Why do people have strokes? Why do people have heart attacks? Where does the stress, where does the passive aggressive hold everything? Here. Where's all your serious organs? Here. Where does most people get cancer and sick? Wake the fuck up. Seriously, that's what the world needs to do. I have been living for the last 7 years at this state of mind, and I think I have had I don't think I've been sick apart from one day here, Kevin.
You were bloody sick when you came back from America. You were in bits.
But what I'm talking
You were
about,
in bits. You lost a stone.
what we're talking about here is I used to go to the doctor every month. I had a cold every month, I had a flu every month for about 30 years. Okay, I haven't did that for the last 7 years. You look at the health of this country, look at Christmas time, in the winter time, trolleys, everything. Where do you think? There's not one person sitting up talking about the cause of this. They're all dealing with the effects. They want more doctors, they want more beds.
Can I ask you then, Michael, you know, you said they're passive aggressive. So this is probably all the fear, whatever anger that you have suppressed. So this is a case of bringing this to the light. Is it bringing it into awareness, feeling it, and then...
We're going to get to that.
All right.
We're going to get to that. And actually Marie is going to be in that afternoon. Marie's going to be showing you how to do this. I'll be showing you, but I loved what Marie did at the conference also. Like, so it's just another opportunity to see that. Yeah, we're going to get into how this is done. We're just basically covering, you know, what this is all about. So then you have your defenses, because to stay at this level, right, the ego needs you in here, all right? It doesn't want you to get out, so now it has defenses. And one of the biggest defenses that it uses is denial. And it's not a river in Egypt. Okay? We have rationalizations. Who's the rationalizer? The persona.
Oh, yeah,
And it's the greatest rationalizer. And we'll go into that. We have disassociation, suppression. Who's got a really busy day every day?
Yeah, I am.
How does that make you feel?
Stressed out.
Yes. You know, and this is one of the motives. It's the persona that drives you and drives you and drives you. Okay? It never gives you a second. Okay?
Micah, can I just ask you something there about, just the fact about illness and stuff like that? Just say, are you saying every single kind of illness, like whether it's people born with this?
No.
Or
No, I'm
are
not
you
saying
just
that.
saying-
No, that would be
Like-
basically. You see, you have to understand the great scheme of things. All right. When we're here in the spiritual universe, when we're designing, we're coming in for another lifetime. One of the things that we do is it's all about the experiences that we want to experience. Okay? So we sit down and we say, this is what I need to experience. So then you sit down with your spirit guides and everything, and you choose a family. Right? Maybe one of the experiences that you need to experience in this time was your body. All right? So you choose a family or a body specifically that's going to give you problems. Okay? Because what you're doing is you're tuning in now to that genetic code that's in that family. You know, like their families carry hereditary diseases, or they carry hereditary strains, or this or whatever. So it means that you would come in now, you would say, I need to experience that. I need to experience some form of disability. I need to experience some form of terminal sickness. Why? Because I need to wake up. I need something to shock me. There was a person in Letterkenny a number of years ago, and they were told they had a week to live. They were rushed in on a Saturday evening, and they were told they had cancer, they had a week to live, and they had to go to Belfast on the Monday, first thing Monday morning. And that person was in such a shock. And by the time they got to Belfast on Monday afternoon, they went in for the x-rays, the cancer had completely gone. Completely gone. And Belfast asked for all the, what do you call them?
Scans and x-rays.
Scans and x-rays and everything to be sent up, and the cancer was there. Everything checked out. That person in that moment became so alive that they literally just woke up, because it was life and death situation. And that's what we all do. You know, we can basically, he was pulled in with the shock of that, I've got a week to live. Just imagine that. Someone said to you, you have a week to live. What would it do to you? What would you feel you'd need to do? What would you feel, how would it, you know, when Jesus says, be wary of the thief that comes in the night. You know, who's to say how long you've got here? We all think, oh, I've got so long, I've got this, I've got this. You know, prepare your fields as fast as you can. Okay?
Well, Michael, you just mentioned the choice we make before we're born. Is that choice made by the ego or the Holy Spirit?
Well, for many years, we have been all on a collective spiritual evolution where we're all coming into the light. So you look at it, this 500 years ago, 1,000 years ago, we were annihilating each other. You know? 10,000 years ago, we were tribes and we were out hunting each other. So look where we're at today. Do you know what I mean? We have come
Still
along.
annihilating each other, just
Yeah.
in a different way.
Yeah, but we're basically, we're coming into the light, you could say.
Okay, fair enough.
So
yeah.
that means the ego has less and less inputs into the script.
So it's a kind of a combination of the two.
You see, when you
Ego
say the
gives some
ego,
say,
Yeah.
Holy Spirit more.
yeah. So when you say ego writes the script, do you know why the ego writes the script? Why do you think you're here in this lifetime?
Well, my understanding of the ego is it wants to stay in existence
No,
forever.
forget about the ego. You. Why are you here? Why were you born in this lifetime? Well, why this lifetime? Why were we born in this lifetime? You could have woke up in the last lifetime.
Your soul chose. Well, I don't know what you call soul.
You're
but-
still
Yeah.
attracted to
Well,
it.
let's just answer that question. What is the soul?
Well, the philosophy that I follow is the esoteric philosophy. So, which is soul is spirit, monad, which is God, whatever you want to call it.
The
You can call it
soul,
what you like.
the
It's
soul
just
only
a
exists
way-
here at this level.
Yeah.
It's the spiritual universe. It's your individual experience as a spirit. Here, it's your individual experience as a body. Like Jesus says in the Course, when you live this body, you still have the illusion of another body. What he's talking about is the spiritual universe where you have the body of light. No. Okay, that's your soul. But when you go up to this, up to this, up to this is all oneness. Okay? So soul basically is just an individual, like an orb of light, or you as light.
Well, Michael, it's the idea not guilt, that we're guilty over separated from God, and that really we're really, and said that we'll solve our guilt by punishing ourselves, and that's why we come down really. Essentially.
Do you think?
Well, I've seen that theory.
Of course, but that's the theory of the Bible, isn't it? We're sinned against God.
Say something.
Yeah, but that's the story. That is what but that is the tiny mad idea. But that whole story is bullshit.
But the Course of Miracles is based on the
No.
time, is it not?
No.
It's the correction,
No,
It's an integral
the
part of it.
misconception.
but
What
in
the
the
Course of
Course,
Miracles is saying that we didn't do anything, like there's no sin,
But
but
we-
we think there's sin.
yeah,
You know?
but the point of that whole story of the tiny mad idea is that's what we believe had happened. All right.
Yes, and
That-
that's why we come down here,
Yeah.
reincarnate.
But
time and
the
time
moment
again.
that we're born, we come past this line, we forget that story. So that's why it's in the Course. It's not in the Course that Jesus is saying this has happened. It's saying throughout the Course that this didn't happen.
Well, I'm
But
saying-
you believe that it
Yeah,
happened.
we believe
Yeah.
this,
So
but we
it's-
know it was not true.
So it's kind of like the story that you have in your past that someone did something to you. It's no difference in that than the story that someone did
Yeah.
something, God did something to you, or the ego did something to you.
Yeah.
All right, they're all stories.
From that point of view, it's probably the ego making the choice, because it's the ego's way of starting this guilt problem.
Right, okay,
which
let me
does not
ask-
work.
Let me ask you this, Tom, then, right? Do you want to do this the slow way or the fast way?
Well, the fast way, well, I might be up to that.
All right, do you know how to do it the fast way?
Not really, no.
You drop the story. If you want to keep the story, then you're going to keep the story until you drop the story, and then you start to do
The
it.
story given in the Course of Miracles.
Yes. Why would you want to keep that story?
Not, well, what the Course says is there isn't any, we didn't do anything, there's no sin, so we're punishing ourselves needlessly.
Exactly. So why
Yeah,
don't
so that's what I believe now at this stage. Not what I believed when I made the choice to come down here, probably.
Yeah, but
But that's what I
Yeah.
hope to.
okay, let's keep moving here then.
Michael, but you were saying, you were asking why we chose to come into this particular lifetime.
Yeah, right,
Well, because I mean, you've already said that
right. The
to
reason why,
choose
yeah,
the body, the family, the experiences that we need to learn.
yeah.
Can I ask you a question in relation to that? Why would you were talking about individual incarnations here, aren't you? Like, why did I choose to be Mary now to have this family, etc., body, job, blah, 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 blah. You know, study A Course of Miracles and listen to you all the time. Why would a person, why would an individual, a soul, a spirit, whatever you want to call it, choose to come into a lifetime with limited intellectual capacity, for instance? Why would a person choose to come into a lifetime with mental illness, with Down syndrome, with autism, where you're not fully aware?
Yeah, I get the picture.
Yeah.
All right. The whole point of this is we're all here to experience everything that heaven is not.
So basically, our lifetimes we experience all of it. The good, the bad, the ugly, and different types of suffering.
Right, let me finish this then.
Yeah, sorry.
Right. We're all here to experience everything that heaven is not. Yeah? So Tricia, how long would it take you to do that on your own? How many lifetimes would you need to keep coming here to experience everything? Considering there's roughly 8 billion people on the planet at this moment in time. So that's 8 billion of you and me, as us, all me, having 8 billion different experiences at the same lifetime. Isn't that amazing? So imagine if I had to experience every lifetime, every experience that everybody's having on my own. How long would it be here?
And that doesn't include animals, plants and
Exactly. So how long would it be here?
Forever.
Trillions and zillions, and because there are trillions and zillions of experiences here. So when you see someone have an experience, you have to always bring this back to, you know, everything and everyone is a projection from me. Okay? So that means everybody is me here having an experience. I don't have to have all these experiences. I don't have to have the experience of basically having a disability like that, or a disability like that, or having to be locked up in a prison for 30 years, or this
Or
or
murdering
this.
somebody or whatever, yeah.
But like Jesus says in the Course, once we get back to this level, back to the real world, all the experiences that everybody has here is all shared here. And we all reach one very important conclusion. Fuck that place.
What?
Fuck that. Do you know what I mean? Because we say, you know, and that's where the choice is. It's either here or heaven. It's either the ego or God. Alright? But the good news is this. You can be here in a body and still have heaven with you every day. Steve Jobs says that everybody wants to die. Everybody wants to get to heaven, but nobody wants to die to get there. Okay, the good news is you don't have to die to get to heaven. And that's brilliant news. You can get that right here. Okay? So that's level 1. Any questions on that? Level 2. And like we're saying, everything that's on that sheet there is a thought. Yeah? And you're attached to it. But it's only a thought. So in level 2, right, here, there's a new set of thoughts. If you really wanted to do this fast, say Tom, right, is you're attached to all the thoughts here. You're trying to get to here. So what you need to do is you need to learn these thoughts here and detach from these. So you need to become attached to these thoughts and detached from these thoughts. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
That's how simple it is. There's no story. You know, you can have whatever story you want.
Yeah, I accept that. The story is why do we come down here to punish ourselves?
Well, the reason why we're here.
He came up and says it's the guilt.
Did you read my book?
And you know yourselves.
Did you read my book?
I did actually.
Did you?
Excellent.
Did you read the separation? Did you read the separation?
Oh yes, I saw your 4 theories. I didn't understand when you said that we could accept the Garden of Eden story and sin guilt.
You can.
Well, yeah, but the court, not if you follow the, not as a
But everybody,
miracles.
I know that. But you look at religion.
Oh, yeah,
I mean, you look at all the people in religion, right? They're in church today, and they're all in basically praying to be forgiven for the sin they committed.
Yeah, forgiveness to destroy.
Yeah, and Jesus says, because of their devotion, that will work, but will take a long time.
Yeah, but not following the Course in
No, of
Miracles
course.
methodology.
Exactly.
I thought you were saying you could follow the Course in Miracles and believe that story. Yeah. No, I misinterpreted it.
Right, so here we're going now, a new set of thoughts. So just let's see, when we go through these thoughts, who's attached to these thoughts? And who thinks, all right, I can't, do you know what I mean? Like, I really can't do what that mind is asking me, or that level. So the first one is full responsibility. Can everybody do that?
Trying.
No. See, if you're trying, you're coming from here.
I know.
You know.
Situations.
Full responsibility means complete responsibility. You can't get into this area without taking responsibility. It's as simple as that. If you react to anybody or anything, it's your responsibility. You know why?
because we're all one, really.
No, because you have denied that projection. What you see that other person doing or saying or even looking and you react to it, it belongs to you, it's your projection. Remember, the eyes were made to blind us from the truth. The Course says there's nothing as blinding as the perception of form. So everything that we see in this world is not the truth. There's absolutely nothing that you see in this world is true.
Michael, what's the difference there? Because sometimes the feeling, what you feel can feel a lot much stronger than the thought, if you know what I mean.
But you see, the thought, right, it works, you have the thought, you have the emotion, and then you have the projection. Because all you've done is the thoughts, right, have become the emotion.
Okay.
If you there's no emotion that you could have without a thought. There's only one. Anybody tell me what it is?
Love.
Love. Love is the only emotion that's without a thought. Every other emotion that you have comes from a thought. Is that true?
Mm-hmm.
Can you do it the other way around? Like you have a physical feeling, say a knot in your stomach, and then you feel it. Then you have the thought of yours, so it's bottom up rather than top down.
Cause and effect. Cause and effect.
Because you might
The
get the
emotion
thought,
is-
you might realise what
Yeah.
actually you're afraid of.
You
or-
see, the emotion always will come from the thought. And the thought will always come from,
Right mind or the wrong mind.
at this level here, all right, you have the split mind. So here you have everything is false, everything is ego. Here you have everything is true. So the moment that you choose to seek outside yourself for anything, go down in here. So that's what we did in this lifetime. The reason why you're here in this lifetime is because of this, and this is a fact. You're attached to the body, and you're attached to the world, and you're attached to this mind. So the reason why I asked that question was this. If you really don't want to come back here for another lifetime, what is it you must do?
Keep right mind.
Wake the fuck up.
Which means,
Deny the false.
let's say you don't wake up.
Sorry?
Let's say you don't wake up, but you don't want to come back. What's the minimum requirement?
That'll take-
The word.
Put it like this, right? Let's say you have the body is attached to the world. Yeah? And reverse. Because if there's no body, there's no world. If there's no world, there's no body. Alright? So, let's say you let the attachments to the body go. And then you pass on. But you haven't let go of the attachments to the world. So there's still things in the world that you want to experience. There's still things here you're attached to, so that's the sense that you're going to come back here. Yeah? But if you have let the attachment go to the body, what does that mean?
There will be no word.
You can come back.
You need the body again to experience the world. Isn't that right?
Yeah.
And if you let the attachment to the world go, and don't let the attachment to the body go, what happens?
You will be in the world again.
You need the word with
Yeah.
rules.
Body.
Yeah, so they're inter.
So you
Not
can
one
see
without
where
the
the
other.
real focus, the reason why I asked that question is because the reason why you're here in this lifetime is because you're still attached to the body and the world.
So you need to drop all your attachments.
Well, it's basically this here, this is what we need to drop,
Split mind.
okay? You don't need to drop the body of the world, you just need to be in the body and the world from a different mind.
Ah, yes. That light bulb was just on again.
Yeah?
Yeah, that's.
You see, if you were going to do this like Eckart Tolle in The Dark Night of the Soul, all right?
How do you get out of the
You'd
dark
have to
night
drop
of
the,
the soul?
you'd have to drop the body and the world and this while in the body.
So if you dropped all your projections, would that work?
Yeah.
Because it's not the body or the word, that's the problem.
Well, what? Give me an example of a projection.
Well, like you said, everything that you see in the world is false. Everything that I see or hear or experience is a projection of my state of mind. Which
Yeah, but you
means,
have to make the unconscious conscious.
yeah,
What does that mean? Anybody?
Technology.
It means that everything outside of you is you.
Yeah.
So how can you drop your projections? You see, well, if you're going to do it the way you're talking about doing it, you're going to do a state of denial now with the world.
I'm not talking about doing it anyway, I'm just saying that that's,
Yeah.
as I said, what you need to do is to.
Yeah.
Were you meaning like
Sorry?
were you meaning really about your sort of attachment to it more so than dropping the projections? Almost like if I'm no longer attached to anything, I can see whatever I see happening
Yeah.
it's secondary. What's going on in here is primary, so whatever I see. So if I
It's
can
reflection,
be with
yeah.
that, is that what you're
Yeah.
talking about?
Yeah.
It's sort of everything I see is a reflection of
Right.
what's in my mind, so.
Mary, just for a second, right, I'll just clear this up, right, we're only going through these things at the moment, right, all the questions that you're asking, we're going to do that, but, you know, every time we get to one of these, we seem to have a breakdown and discussion about this or that, all right, just let's run through this quickly, yeah? And again, it's only about showing you the different levels of awareness, consciousness, and how simple this is. You detach from one level, you attach to another level. Okay? So we're just talking about the thoughts that's here and what do they mean. Then you have full acceptance of what is. Does anybody know what that means?
Say it again?
Acceptance of what is.
Yeah.
You see here
Byron Katie.
what Byron Katie has written.
Lovely purpose.
Loving what is. Anybody know what that means?
Except in the present moment.
Yes. Okay, and that means, can you do that, Helen?
Yeah.
All the time?
It's not all the time. As I said, if I did it all the time, I would be
Yeah.
at level 4.
Yeah. So do you know what the only thing that's stopping you from being there?
You can't make it out to Tibet and sit on the top of a mountain or what.
No. It's right around you. It's very close to you. What's stopping you? It's your attachments. You're attached to thoughts. That's basically projected around in your world. Complete forgiveness. Does everybody here know what complete forgiveness is? Yeah? What is the basis of complete forgiveness? Remember, it's where you bring your emotion to the truth rather than rationalize it. So if you look at it here, here's the rationalizer, here's the truth. All right? So in complete forgiveness, you can rationalize your pain, your sickness, your suffering, and you keep it. Or you can bring it to the truth and you let it go. It's two different levels. And that's what Byron Katie does here in this book. She basically, in the 4 questions that will change your life, is basically the first one, is it true what you're experiencing? Okay? But we'll talk about that later. Then there's advanced true forgiveness. Complete forgiveness takes you to this level. Advanced true forgiveness is dealing with our projections. Simple forgiveness is just about detachment. Self-empowerment is about the self. Which self do you want to empower? Do you want to empower the self in the persona, the false self, or your higher self? And then we have the practice of true empathy. We talked about true empathy. The practice of true unconditional relationships. Isabel, how many unconditional relationships have you?
Not many, yeah.
How many do you need?
All.
One.
What? Who was it?
Yourself.
See, what you can't have any unconditional relationships around you while you're holding conditions upon yourself. True love, okay, is unconditional. You practice that, Tracy? Yeah. Anybody else? You see, it's not about having one unconditional relationship here. All relationships, for you to enter into this level of awareness, it means everyone here must be unconditional. You can't have it for someone you like, for your favorite person. Because it's very nice to have an unconditional relationship with someone you really like. Because the reason why you really like them is because they're fulfilling all your needs in the first place anyway. You know, if they didn't fulfill your needs, you wouldn't like them. So all the people you don't like are people who, you know, they're really people that irritate me, annoy me, that they don't, you know, give me the specialness that I require. Remember what Jesus says in the Course, specialness only becomes a problem when it's denied. So if someone was really good to you at one time when they stopped being good to you, what do you think of that person then?
Traitor, turncoat.
Yeah, because they're not giving you your specialness anymore. You know, and this is what we do. The love turns to hate. This is the love hate. And then the practice of being non-judgmental. And Eckart was asked in this book a couple of times about how this is done, but he couldn't give the answer because there's no level 2. So how do we be non-judgmental?
Watch our judgments.
If you're watching your judgments, who's watching?
You need to be observant. Don't believe that story.
Yeah, but we're talking about practical here. How do we be non-judgmental?
If you recognise the sin that this out there is yours, for a start, I suppose, if you bring it, it's your responsibility. Therefore,
Yeah, but I'm talking about
judge yourself.
practicality. Let's basically bring this down into practicality. How can we practice being non-judgmental practically?
Jeez, I wish I could, because I spent years been thinking I was, all through my working life.
Here, no. With everyone is.
No, you're going to do this basically when you leave here tomorrow. You start. It's the way we do this to be non-judgmental means you're a doer. You're not being yet. You're a doer. So that means you're here in the world, and that means to get anything done, it means you must do it. Is that right?
Yeah, you make the choice, will that be it?
No, you're doing it.
No.
You have to do things in this world. You're in a body. You have to go.
Well,
You have
everything
to.
you do is a choice, isn't it?
Yeah, but like you have to eat. You have to go to work. You have to do this. You have to fill in your taxes. You have to do all of these things. So you have to do things. All right.
Well, it's
Maybe
your
if you have a.
You could choose not to.
Do you
Of course.
deliberately stop judging somebody?
No. No, you can't do that. The way that you do this is you look at the investment.
You look at why you're being.
Let's say you're going to do a conference, and you want this conference to be the best conference and everything, and you want everything to go out perfect. All right? So what happens? Who's doing that? Persona. Okay, and the shadow is going to come in and fuck it up. Isn't that true? All right, so how do you do the conference by being non-judgmental?
Let go of the outcome.
You let go of the outcome. The conference could be the best conference, or everything could go wrong. How's it going to make you feel? You do it without investment. Okay? And if you can do things in the world without investment, you're now being non-judgmental. You're being
Without expectation.
Exactly. Now, you look at this word. The persona goes into all relationships. All right? Let's look at the love relationship. The persona has demands, has expectations, has needs, and has desires, many of them. And it's the persona, really, now that goes in to this relationship with this special person. And what happens when you're in the relationship with this special person?
Two shadows come in.
The shadow comes in and shows you everything that's wrong with this person. The persona really likes this person, a really special person. Now the shadow comes in and you have these thoughts and you look at, oh, look what they're doing wrong, look what they're doing wrong, look what they said. They're not a very nice person. The shadow is trying to destroy the personas. And eventually what happens is your mind now becomes split with this person and you're deciding, will I keep them, will I not keep them, will I dump them, will I do this, will I do that? You can see the wire between the one thought system of right and wrong and good and bad. How you're caught in the middle of this. All right? Now, you can be in that relationship with none of that. Anybody ever experienced that? That's the unconditional relationship. If you basically go into any relationship unconsciously, you're going to get badly hurt. Unless it's in your script, for otherwise something to happen.
How do you know the difference, or does it matter?
Well, you see people here in the world, like, and they're really having a good time with it. They're really enjoying it, and all of that. But they're here, they're not here to wake up. They're here to have different experiences. Maybe they're here to help someone else. Maybe they're here to, you know, bring a child into the world and to father that child or whatever. Like, everybody's got a purpose here. Okay? But when you get to here, you'll find your true purpose here. So you can see the thoughts that are at this level. Now, this is a relationship that you have with the Holy Spirit. Let's call it the Holy Spirit, yeah? So, do anybody here want to go out with the Holy Spirit?
Go out.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Shag.
You know now.
You know.
Yeah. Persona would be looking for the shag. Yeah. So the point that I'm making here, right, is you have a relationship with the state of mind, because that's what it is. It's a state of mind. Now, are you ready for it?
Yeah.
You're saying no.
Probably no.
Tell me why.
Because it means letting go a lot of my attachments from letting go.
Yeah, but you know what you're letting go of is only the way that you perceive them.
Yeah.
That's all. You don't drop anything physical, you don't get anybody out of your life, you don't say anything to anybody, you don't do anything for them. This is all about content, it's all about thinking. You're letting go of the way you think. Because when you get to here, you have a new way of thinking. And you can only think like that here. Here, you can only think like that here. So it's your choice is which level do you want to go. So let's quickly look at level 3. All right, just to see what's in that. Now this is the level of self-realization, it's the level of bliss. Okay? Here, complete non-attachment. Anybody understand what that means?
It's freedom, isn't it? Freedom.
To have freedom, you must give freedom. Okay, all your relationships will be completely detached. And that means they'll be completely love-based, which is complete unconditionality. Anybody ready for that?
Yeah.
Anybody else? Alan?
I'd love to.
Yeah. This is what Eckart's talking about. This is, you know, the power of now. This is where the inspired comes for to be at this state of mind. But this is what it, on a structural level, what it takes to be there. The observer, to be without judgment. To be completely non-attached to anything is to be completely at peace. If you're not at peace, it means you're attached. As long as you're holding on to an attachment, it means I don't want to be at peace. So, do you want to have a look at your attachments again?
Me?
Because they're costing you your peace.
Yeah.
And that's okay. And again, I'll say it's only the way you're looking at them that's costing you peace.
Yeah, see, I go through little phases where, just say, where I kind of feel right. Just say in terms of my husband, right? Yeah, that's fine. He works away from home 5 days a week, right? But then he comes back. We had this episode there at the weekend, and he expects me to come back. I'm really happy. So in one chance, I kind of think, okay, I'm leaving going. That's freedom and whatever. And then he comes back, and then I'm in really bad form because I've done all this for the last 5 days, and I know I'm totally getting it wrong. And I'm not doing it, but yet I'm trying. I use the word trying.
That's okay. That's okay. That's okay. And this is all about, right, you know, it's your honesty here today is going to show you where you're at. And it's your honesty is going to show you what you need to do next. It's that simple. This is what today's at. You know, it's just showing you where you're at and where you need to get. It's kind of like a little check-in with yourself to see where I'm at here and what I need to do. Because there's so much here you don't need to be concerned with. There really is. And that's the beauty about the levels. That they really show you, this is all I need to focus on, because what under the law of focus is what you focus on expands for you. And if you can put the focus into here, to level 2, then that's fine. So, to be the observer, to be without judgment, is joy.
Michael, can I ask you something about the observer?
Yeah.
because I have Parkinson's and I go through mood changes, there's one of the symptoms of Parkinson's is mood swings and depression. Now I haven't, thank God I'm not, I can cope. But one of the things I found, and I just want to ask you if what you think, that if I learned a technique that when I feel I feel my feelings getting very low.
Yeah.
If I stand back and stand outside myself as watching what's going on, I'm able to come away from that feeling.
Right, two things then what you need to do here. First thing is you need to figure out who's feeling what. So when you're saying you're feeling very low, who's feeling very low?
I think it's this thing from that I was talking about earlier.
Yeah, no, but what I'm talking about here, just you have you as a persona, or you, Michelle.
Maybe in the shadow.
You see, the persona, Ryan, will feel very low, and that's when you go into depression, is it?
Yeah, it could be.
You see, the persona is all about the self-image. What we do in that, we're building ourselves up all the time. It's like these great self-help books that you get. It enhances our persona, it enhances our ego, it makes us feel good and everything else. And it gives us another gesture,
But it doesn't last, my friend.
I know, it's temporary, it's magic. Do you know?
It doesn't last.
But the point that I'm making to you here is there's two things you can do here, right? Use self-empowerment with what you're saying, because the whole point of what's drawn from your persona is deflating that self-image that we have about ourselves.
Yes.
Because we're always trying to make ourselves feel good, and we want to feel good, and we're doing many, many things to make this happen. All right, we might go on a holiday, we might get the hair done, we might go for a spa, we might do this, we might go for a walk, all of these kind of things. We're continuously out there trying to make ourselves feel good all the time. That costs an awful lot of energy to keep doing that. Okay, there is another way to do this. Is let that self go completely, because that's the self-image. That ego persona is going to be up and it's going to be down. Up and down. And that's life. Never lasts. There's nothing permanent in it.
No.
So when you're feeling low like that, I would go into use self-empowerment and go, who's feeling this one? Because it's not your higher self. It's not your true self.
No.
No.
It's basically what, you see, everything you've been doing and coming here for the last number of years, Eileen, is all about being letting this go, deflating it. You know, but the one thing you're probably not doing at this point, and this is what you need to do, is start attaching now to thoughts here and let these other thoughts go. Okay? So, to be the observer means this, that if you're in an argument, or sorry, a conversation with someone, and let's say you're here, the observer, and this person here, and they're talking about one of their neighbours, or they're talking about one of their friends, or they're talking about Donald Trump. All right? Okay, they're going to want to call you in as a witness. Alright? So how can you be a witness with them if you're the observer? Because the observer doesn't pick right or wrong, or good or bad. And I'm sure Donald Trump fits in there somewhere. So to be without judgment is to be in that conversation and not to condemn either the person who is talking about the other person or the other person. It doesn't mean that you don't agree with the person or say anything the person wants to say. But Jesus covers this in the Course when he says, when a brother asks you to do something outrageous, you do it. But 2 chapters later, he comes back to it and he says, you do it provided it doesn't cause harm to either of you. So what he's asking us here is someone, thinks that Donald Trump is the devil, and you know the truth, okay? Then there's nothing wrong with agreeing with that person. Because that person's asking you for something outrageous, isn't he? He's saying, agree with me. Every person that you meet, they're coming to get you to agree with their story. Because everybody's got a story. And no one wants to drop the story. They want everybody else to believe the story.
You want everybody else. You can only have two stories about your past. You're a victim in one and you're a victimizer in the other. Everybody can relate to that?
Yes.
Yeah? Which one are you the most?
Victim.
Yeah. We're all victims. We all play the victim character. The victim is here. The victimizer is here.
Or is it just
Fear is here. Guilt is here. You see, no matter what these two rooms that you're in, let's say you're in the good room and you've built a lovely house and you have a lovely family and you have a lovely job. Okay? What happens now? Maybe a recession comes in, you could lose your job, you lose the family, you lose the home. What kind of a life? This has just happened in Ireland, hasn't it?
Yeah.
Do you know? And everybody was engulfed in fear and they were projecting that fear out as guilt. They were blaming this person and that person and everything else. You see, everybody's dreams are all here in the persona. Okay? And then Bertie Ahern comes in and takes it away from everybody. Any Bertie fans say, oh shit, we're in the Bertie Ahern suite. That's why I've said that.
He's not dead, I was spiritual girl, sorry.
Okay? So Bertie took away everybody's dreams and everybody ended up in the shack, in the back. And that's the way this world works. So when you can be with non-attachment, you're going to have peace. And when you can be without judgment, you're going to have joy. And when you have complete awareness, you're going to have love. Okay? Because that's where these three, that's the main characteristics of this level. Peace, joy, love equals bliss. When you add those three together, that's the bliss. Okay? This also is complete responsibility. And that means you're responsible for everything that you see, feel, hear, touch, and smell. Everything in the world. Complete acceptance of what is, complete trust, complete tolerance, complete honesty, complete gentleness, complete open-mindedness, and you have silent prayer. And those, physically, you'll see as all the characteristics of the advanced teacher of God. Okay?
or even the regular teacher of God
Yeah.
in the book?
So where is the teacher of God? Here. Yeah. This is the teacher of God.
Doesn't the course say that anyone who has ever seen or who has ever not seen the interests of someone else as different is automatically a teacher of God, whether they know it or not?
Well, he also says that you have to complete the workbook. Okay. Right, what we're going to do is, I was going to take a little bit 5-minute break, but
Cup of tea would be nice.
I told you, but we're going to be finishing for lunch shortly.
Oh, are we?
Well, what time is it now? Listen, we'll take a 5-minute toilet break just right. Don't go for teas or coffees or anything. We should have probably finished a little bit earlier for a little 10-minute break or whatever. But it's 12:05 now. 10 minutes, then I will come back, and then we're only going to be a half an hour. We'll discuss.
But I'm paying you all the cash. Just don't have to pay a security deposit. That's your thing. That's what I did. We're talking about it. Then it's very easy to put on this. Tell people. Do you know what I'm saying? That this is a requirement. I said, no, I have to register for another picture. And you'll get it back. Can you live? I said, yes, but I have the money that I need for the weekend with me, and that's all. So anyway, it's that's what I got. Yes, managers. So anyway, I said to Pastor, I said, this last right here last week. You know, there's an overlist at the conference, and I'm nervous for staying there. You're making quite a few quid out of this. I was talking to him about who had come earlier. They weren't paying. I picked up around and I said, that's fine. Then I got all I had to
Okay, folks.
I got my money on the so I actually paid table to my bank afterwards because I couldn't find my money. It was in there, but I had so much shit.
Just sorted in the
It was always funny. Oh yeah, but it was lovely. It was lovely. Lots of little things about it. I don't know how to do it, but
everybody had their own way.
oh well, yes, but this is what I'm saying. Everybody, and then I remember it was the last time. Or else what?
Huh? You're
I go
right.
to hell.
You're right. I'll put you under the shadow.
I'm already in the fucking shadow.
So relevant, it affects you. I remember we used to do all this kind of opening the window, washing my hands. That's how I got, because I seem to with my own shit as well.
And I have you put up with him.
Yeah.
I don't react, Mary.
That's what happened.
Yeah.
Exactly. I wouldn't have understood. Yeah.
Is this
Okay, right, are there any questions on this now? We've only got 20 minutes, so we're not going to get really into anything deep now. We'll stop for a bit of lunch. So any questions on any other stuff on the levels? All happy? Okay, so when Jesus says that you are the creator of your own hell, what's he talking about?
Your interpretation of what's going on is creating the crap that you're experiencing. If I can use it, if I can say it and sum it up in that way.
Yeah, that would be an intellectual answer.
Yes.
Give us a practical answer.
Sorry.
No, give us a practical answer. Why are we the creators of our own hell?
Because your judgments are creating your experience.
Yes, that's intellectual.
Yeah.
Right.
But
Practically.
Why?
it's true.
Practically.
Oh, reacting to it.
Yeah, that's an effect.
Your thoughts, you create, energy follows
Yeah,
thoughts.
simply.
You create negative thoughts, energy will follow what it is.
Yeah, but even on a practical level, we're all trying to be someone we're not. Isn't that true?
Yeah.
Right, give you an example how this works, right? I'm going to work on the three faces that we all wear. All right, Tricia, I'm going to use you, right?
Thank you.
Okay, so you know the three faces that you use every day?
According to your labels, no.
No. So are you aware of your persona?
Yeah.
That's the people pleaser.
Yeah.
All right, and you know you use your persona every single time you want to get something done. We all do. Yeah? It's kind of like if you had ran out of petrol or whatever, like, you know, and you wave someone down, you're going to use your persona and try to get that person to get you to, get fuel or whatever.
Yeah.
Or maybe, you break down and you need to stay at a hotel, you go there and you use your persona, you would plead your case. You would play the little victim. Because the victim gets places in this world, doesn't it? All right?
My friend Jerry used to call that, that you're being charming.
Yeah.
That's what I'm trying to get something.
Yeah. So basically, that's the persona part. It gets things done in this world. It's a manipulator. It's a people pleaser, right? So that's one face. You know that. Do you use that face every day?
I do.
You do.
I do.
Yeah.
I consciously
Yeah, you're aware.
I'm aware
Yeah.
of that.
You see, there's two ways we can use the persona. You can do it knowing exactly what you're doing, and it'll have absolutely no effect on you. You can use it thinking that it's you, and it'll take you to hell, because you're doing it unconsciously. So this is not about not using your persona and using all the talents that you have. It's about using your persona and you being fully aware of exactly what you're doing. Because this is the effect if you don't. The moment you start using your persona, you start energizing the shadow if you do it unconsciously. Okay, awareness is the key here.
It's not being honest really with yourself, isn't it?
Yes,
Totally.
that's the key. Right. Now, there's a few people, and I work with a lot of people. I do one-to-ones with an awful lot of people all around the world, and I have a few people that I'm working with at the moment, and we've been working in other areas, but now their persona has basically got them into a shitload of trouble, and they're trying to get out of it. And one of the tasks that I asked them to do was this. All right, I wanted them to pick 4 people, all right, in their life. Okay? You pick, if you have an intimate partner, you pick your intimate partner. If not an intimate partner, say a very good friend. Okay? A boss, someone at work, someone underneath you, and then someone you don't like. Now, if you can pick those 4 people, can you be the same person with those 4 people? And the whole trick is this, is not to be the same person with 4 people. It is to see the 4 different masks that you're wearing. That's the key here. You see, the whole key of this is getting back to one face that you use, is your personality. Your personality is the most honest you. Okay? Your persona is the ego. And when you step into the persona here, now the ego takes charge. Because the greatest illusion is this, is at this level, you actually think the thoughts that you're thinking are your thoughts. Does anybody here actually believe that? What makes, say, Suzanne, what makes Suzanne Suzanne is the thoughts that you think.
Yeah, got that.
Are they your thoughts?
No, I know that now.
Does anybody here believe that the thoughts that they think are actually their thoughts?
Yeah, I do.
You see? That, you know, when they talk about illusions, that is the illusion.
I'm just trying to,
That is the illusion of.
yeah, I'm trying to work that one out.
You have a great thought?
Yeah.
Now, let me explain how this works. Okay, Sharon was doing a presentation for the conference. Okay, and she came with me, she had a great idea. Okay? And she went away and I says, yes. I says, that's perfect, let's do that. So Sharon went away and a week later then she came back with the same presentation to me, but it was a completely different presentation. All right, it was embellished, it was complicated, and everything was lost that was in it. What happened? The persona went to town. You have a great idea, that idea could come from above, could come from here, could come from here, or whatever. Okay, you have that idea. Now you start to do something with it. The persona, i.e. the ego, takes it over and head now starts to give it all the energy. Now the ego is invested in the outcome. That means you're invested in the outcome. And what was happening with Sharon, the more she started to do this, now it became so big, it became a big monster, she started to get so frustrated with it and she said, I can't do this. The shadow was coming in to basically destroy the presentation. Once the persona started working with it, the shadow starts working with it. So we all have had good ideas, and what has happened to those good ideas? Yeah. You know, you could have meet someone, and you could think, this is the person for me, this person is the person, and the shadow will come in and say, I'll prove to you it's not the person. So we've all sabotaged things in our life, haven't we?
Yeah.
That's the face that I was asking you now, Tricia. Who's the saboteur? Do you know that face of the saboteur? You don't, because you project it onto other people or other things. Right? Say, example, you come here and basically you know the room's available and the guy says, no, you're too late, we'll stop taking registrations or whatever, right? You'll go away thinking that's an asshole. He could have let me in there. You know, that was the shadow. It was basically being projected onto that person, isn't it? Do you know? So this is actually what's going on at this level. You do not think. You're either thinking at this level or this level. This is the Holy Spirit's level, this is the ego's level. Where are you? Where do you think? Here. And to get to there, you see, here's wrong-minded thinking, here's right-minded thinking, here's no thinking. That's why you think here. This is the state of being. You can be in the state of being. Like, does anybody know your man Keith Nahan? All right. He's very, very sick at the moment. Okay. But I was speaking to one of his people who's basically here in Dublin, and they said he only spends 2 hours in any day now doing anything. The rest of the time he's in a state of being. You know, in your day, how many hours you spend doing? You know?
Oh, most.
And is there peace? Is there joy? Is there happiness?
Yeah.
You're getting that?
Yeah.
Yeah? Yeah. Have you
And
ever...
frustration and all the rest.
Yeah. And again, you can identify with all of this, right? When things are going well, you're in here. Things are not going well, you're in here. Then things are down, you might be in here. And that's, as long as you stay at this level, that's what's going to be happening at this level, yeah? But even at this level, you could be chilling in here and chilling in there, you wouldn't know it. Yeah?
Well, no, I'm consciously trying to tune into just to be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it, you know, even at this level, it can be done very, very easily. But the point here, the journey is here from wrong-minded thinking to right-minded thinking to no thinking. You can't go from wrong-minded thinking to no thinking. It's that simple.
Sorry, that's...
You're okay. So, I'll just start this. We won't have time to finish it, but we're doing the 3 phases yet. So you have your persona phase, you have your shadow phase. All right, what about your personality?
This is where what really attracted me to today, because I know Eckart says the persona is the personality, and you're saying they're different. So that's what actually made me come today.
You see, the personality is going to be really impossible for any of us to really get to know our personality. Why?
It doesn't exist subjective.
It does exist. Because you see, it's your higher self, right, who chose your personality for you to wake up.
Yes, yes.
But the personality is also the ego, isn't it?
Of course, it's
I mean, I was under the impression from when you talked about it first that the shadow and the persona were 2 sides of it.
and you're dropped into the middle of it.
But there is another.
Yes, the personality. So it's like this, once you're dropped in here, the personality then becomes the persona. Okay, so how do you find the personality? You must first look at the personas. The one thing you're not sure about is who I am, truly am at this level. What is my personality? No one is really sure of that. In my book, I give 10 examples. Okay? But here's the key. In that book, and good for you who read it, yeah?
Yeah.
What's another way to do all those personalities? When you're awake, which of those personalities becomes you? Those ones that I have in the book. All of them.
Yeah, that's something that's just coming back into my head now from reading your book. That is, when I was going through them, I said, but these personalities are all mine. Yeah, that's fine.
You know, that's what we must become at the end of the day, is all those personalities that's in the book, because that's who we are at this level. At this level, you know, you're an introvert, you're an extrovert, you're an open, or you're a closed, or you're conscientious, or you're non-conscientious, all of these things like that.
You respond to the situation.
Exactly, but you see, the persona takes over the situation.
Yeah,
It's like
the
this.
persona decides what the situation should be rather than what it is.
What Eckart Tolle is saying, when you go into the shadow, when you go into the pain body, what happens to the pain body then? Pain body overpowers you. Isn't that right? It's kind of like when you're in a real bad mood and someone comes to you or whatever, they'll just say, yeah, fuck off. You know what I mean? In that moment. Now, is that their face? Who's speaking? The shadow. This shadow. Okay? And it's very important. And people in the course and people in spirituality are trying only to deal with the shadow. No one realizes that they have to deal with the persona, because the shadow is the effect of the persona. If you're continually just dealing with all your projections of negativity, okay, here, and you keep forgiving, and this is what everybody in America is doing, is they're basically keep this cycle of regurgitation of the same error over and over again, which means is they're forgiving the bad, and they're creating more here. Creating good, creating bad. Good, bad. So if you're only letting go of the bad, and you keep creating, what are you creating all the time? More, and more, and more bad. You can see the insanity in this.
You should let go of the good as well.
Oh, it's the good. If there's no good, there's no bad. It's as simple. You remember, everything is dualistic in this world. And it's not the world. The Course says the world is neutral and the body is neutral. And they are. It's the mind that we're attached to that makes everything dualistic. Everything good and bad and right and wrong. Okay? And there's a way to do this. There is a way. You see, for you to do what Eckart's saying in the book is you have to revert into the personality. The personality then can go to here, here, and then there. But we'll do this after. I'm going to do this straight away after lunch. I'm going to show you the way to do this through A Course in Miracles. And I'll show you also how to do this through Eckart Tolle, through the pain body. You know, but again, you know, if you're going to do the dark night of the soul, it's important that you have no spirituality in your life whatsoever.
So are you saying that maybe Eckart hasn't maybe gone into that whole persona personality enough?
You see, it was like me, right? When I woke up, I seen very clearly, right, what Eckart's talking about in the book. I see it every day. But the problem with that is people are looking at it and they're seeing something completely different from this perspective. So what I had to do with the Course, and what I was guided to do was to go in and learn all the levels, and that's what I've been doing for 7 years. I've been learning all the structure, all these levels. Everything that's in A Course in Miracles goes into these levels. And everything and every spirituality in the world, every teacher in the world is going to be exposed by this. And this is not good news for teachers of spiritual shite.
Including Eckart. Are you talking about including Eckart?
I'm talking about everybody. Me included. You know, the Course included. Everything in this world can go into these levels. And this can truly empower every student now to see clearly what this person is teaching, where they're teaching from, and who they're teaching from. Because the ego is doing a lot of teaching in this world. I see it every single day. I see it all over Facebook. I see it in many, many teachings. And that, if you're into that form of a teacher, you're going further and further into hell. And that's where a lot of people are going. And that's the beauty about A Course in Miracles with the symbols of the Course. They expose the ego like never before. Never before. And they show you the only thing I need to focus on. Because the way it works is this. You come in here out of your persona, your personality, you become grounded here. You will come up here and meet your higher self. Your higher self can't meet you here or here. Can only meet you here. This is what Buddha meant, the middle way. The balance of everything is here. And when you can get here, you're only a skip to here, you're in here. Now, the mistake that everybody's been making when they get to here, they're trying to get to here. What's wrong with that?
Trying for a start.
Yeah, but it's the wrong way. They have to look back down here because this has to be detached from. This has to be corrected. You see in the levels I did, this is the corrective mind. Okay? This is the mind that looks down on the world. Ken Wapnick used to say you're above the battleground. Okay, you're looking down now and you can clearly now start the detachment. Because when you'll be up and down from here. Alright? And when you can consistently stay here, the moment that you're up here and you consistently have detached from everything here, you will waken up there.
It just happened.
So instead of getting to here and trying then basically to get straight up again up to 11, you can't do it. You get to here, you sort this out. When this is sorted out, you wake up here automatically. Now that's a different journey to this journey. Okay? This journey involves either going into here or here, and through the vortex, through the pain body, ending up here.
There's nothing wrong with that journey.
There's nothing wrong with that journey, only I made that journey,
Okay.
and there's not too many make it, because you have to get to the point that you would rather have death than life.
Fair enough.
And when you get to that point, normally there's one thought that comes in very quickly then, which is end it now. And that thought came to me, but it was the love of my children that I just couldn't do that. So that was in my script. That was the protective. But I do know a lot of scripts where people did kill themselves in that dark night of the soul script. It was the only way that people woke up, and that's what A Course in Miracles is. A Course in Miracles is really not about you losing yourself completely. That's what the dark night of the soul is. That's what this is here, where you come completely lost.
So if Eckart and you went through the very same, how come there's such a difference in between the way you're teaching?
We all have different purpose. I mean, you look at it this way. I mean, Byron Katie, I mean, she's went here, she teaches here, Eckart's here, he's aspiring people to come to here, and I'm doing a dirty job. I'm telling people, you know, that this is what you have to look at, and this is what you have to do, and people don't want to do it.
Might it even change direction? If you think you're halfway up the vortex, then you come down again and choose the other direction.
Not at all. I mean, if you think you're halfway up, then you're not up at all.
All right, so that's grand.
Remember, you can't think your way through this. You know, though, you can't think your way to enlightenment, because that's the ego in enlightenment. The ego believes you can't think this way. So what Jesus is doing in the Course is Jesus is using the Holy Spirit, which is right-minded thinking, to correct wrong-minded thinking. When you correct the wrong-minded thinking, there's no need for right-minded thinking anymore, so this disappears, and you're up there. And that's the code that this is done. So this book was made to inspire. This book is a book that's way before its time. In 100 years' time, everybody will be doing this book. But in 100 years' time, the world's going to be in a completely different place than it is now. So,
Mike, just a quick one. You woke up more or less immediately, so you were up at level 3. What inspired you? You didn't need to go into all this stuff about for yourself, maybe, for your personal self. So you did all this for the rest of us, you know.
Well,
the rest of
He's a saint.
the way it worked was this. I had my self-awakening. I had my spiritual awakening. And it was in this place, that 4 months, where I was in this conversation with the boss. And one night he just asked me, would I help to awaken our brothers? And I said yes, under one condition. And the condition that I put in was that if I was going to do this, if I was going to stand in front of people, then I needed to know everything. And in that moment, the Akashic Records was open for me, and the Course was handed to me the next day, and I was told to go to Camp Wapnick and learn the levels, and learn the Course from the bottom up, because if you're going to teach this, you're going to need to know what you're teaching. And so that's where all this came from, like, you know. It was already in my script, Tom. It wasn't I just decided that night to, you know, oh, I have a good idea. That would have been the persona.
Yeah,
You know?
I understand. No, most of myself, I just think I'm awake, so that's grand.
Yeah.
But I see you.
You know, so again, you see, if everybody was here doing the same thing, it wouldn't be really helpful to people. You know, every teacher of spirituality is teaching something different, because we have so many different ears that what I say, other people won't like it, they'll need to hear something different. And I know there was a person at the conference and says, Marion, you would have heard a pin drop. Marion was, and I think she was out to Glasgow, like, you know.
I think she was there the same day.
And the problem with that is I could do the exact same what Marion Williamson does. I could feel you so much full of spiritual shite that would make your head spin for a week. You know, but that ain't going to do anybody any good. Marion's book is a book that brings people into the Course.
The first book,
Yeah.
It's the Return to Love. It has brought more people in Ireland into the Course than enough. And that's what, we have other great books out there that bring people into the Course.
Gary Renner.
And then you have the teachers of the Course, basically people who will take you up through the Course then. So it's important to distinguish who's what. Do you know? Because there's teachers at different levels. Regina Dawn Eggers is another great teacher.
Oh, she's brilliant.
Do you know what I mean? Have you ever heard tell of her? No. And she is someone who wrote a book here And the problem with Regina was she lost it, but she didn't know how she lost it. And she came back in again. And once she realised the simple mistake, error that she had made, she was able to correct it. So, I mean, there's many, many great teachers out there on different levels that's giving you the tools. And what the world needs is not more Eckart Tolles. They need more level 2 teachers, more Byron Katies, Ken Watneys, people who...
Francis Bennett, have you ever come across Francis Bennett?
I haven't known.
Francis Bennett, he's very practical. He's talking about existing in the world, you know, having to live in the world,
Yeah,
try and
well,
live from a
higher
higher
level,
place,
yes,
you know,
yes.
with all the
Exactly.
things going at you
Exactly.
like
And that's the problem we all have.
Yeah.
I think, yeah.
He's very good now.
And that's what the key here about is if you go to live in a cave for 6 months or a year, you have to come back in. You have to come back into Dublin. Do you know what I mean? Like come back into work, into the traffic, into taxes, and the government, and so on. So when people go away to these things and then they come back, they're coming back into what I call the real world. So it's not about that. It's about you being in the real world. The true test of this is when all hell is breaking loose around you, and you can just sit there with a little gentle smile inside yourself, where really nothing's affecting you.
Who said, well, there's Shakespeare, you keep your head well all around her.
Yes.
But you can't do this, at this level you just can't do that. Because
Have you heard of the way of mastery, Mike?
I have, yeah.
That's almost identical in content and to the course of
To the course. Well, I mean, you know,
to me, it's what
yeah,
anyway, I was
yeah.
reading it, I found it very hard to see.
but like
It's
the
just
only,
one of the language and some of the ideas.
yeah. But I'll reiterate this, right? There's people out there and they're teaching the course and they're just saying, forgive them. You know, they're forgiving the other person. And they're forgiving what the other person does. And that's here. You know, that's the ego's form of forgiveness. And there are people teaching the courses. You know, so it really doesn't matter whether it's the way of mastery, whether it's the course, whether it's Byron Katie, whatever book it is. Whatever gets you to here, use it and take it. Don't be thinking that I'm doing a Course in Miracles, I have to stick to the course, whether I like it or not, because everybody else is doing it. You know, you can do the course and you can do Byron Katie. You can do the course and you can do Eckart Tolle. You can do the course and you can do my book. Just understand the symbols. We're all saying the same thing, but it's just the symbols are different. You know, so we're going to break up there for lunch. We'll be back at 2 o'clock and we're going to get straight into the power of now, and we're going to decode that very quickly in the afternoon. Then Marie is going to finish off this evening with some nice music, meditation, and about real, how, you know, what brings us from here to here. Okay, that's what the key here is. No matter what book you get, Tom, do you know?
Yeah.
The only thing that's only going to be any use for you or anybody here from now on is here. How can I get to here? Everything else simply doesn't matter. Okay, so we'll be back at 2 o'clock, folks.
Thank you.